Hi guys, Jaipo here. Let's talk about helmet law. I've been looking at helmets, looking for a new one, and I quite fancy a Gringo, Biltwell Gringo. But it's not legal for use in the UK, or is it? Let's talk about that. I'm coming to you on the 5th of November, which is a kind of strange UK specific celebration where well, I'm actually not quite sure if we celebrate the attempt to blow up the Houses of Parliament and the government therein, or if we're celebrating the fact that he failed. These days I'm pretty think everybody's celebrating the fact that he attempted it, and it's just a shame that he actually did fail. But back to the helmets. So you want to buy a helmet, and if you go onto the government UK site, it says you must wear a protective headgear. It must have a BS standard and or ECE standard, European Community Standard. So if it doesn't have either of them, then it's not legal. And you look in the forums and there's loads of rule followers in there going, ooh, it's not legal to wear a DOT approved helmet. But then you actually dig into the legislation and have a look at it. And bear in mind, legal legislation is a guideline. It's not prescriptive until it's been taken to task and a decision has been made by a court of law. Therefore, there is always a bit of wiggle room. So if you read the legislation regarding helmets, it says that you must wear protective headgear if riding a motorcycle in the UK. Fine, okay, we accept that. That protective headgear must have either a BS standard or a ECE standard on it. If you dig into the BS standards, you can go back to BS 2001 from 1956, and that's a legal standard for you to wear as protective headgear on UK roads today. It's not a legal standard for you to sell, but it's a legal standard for you to wear. Here's a picture of a helmet from 1956. Now, the part that gets me though is the second part, and I have my notes here. So, the second part is, it's either a helmet that bears the marking of the British Standard or the ECE, or, and there's a big word, or, is of a type manufactured for use by persons on motorcycles, which by virtue of its shape, material and construction could reasonably be expected to afford to the wearer a degree of protection from accidental injury similar to or greater than that provided by a helmet of a type prescribed by Regulation 5, which is the standards. Therefore, your case is, if you're stopped, it's reasonable to expect that that helmet will provide you a better degree of protection, especially in the case of a Biltwell Gringo, which, although it looks like an old, 70s, 80s Bellstar type helmet, is actually a modern constructed helmet, approved by a DOT, and way, way better than a 1956 British Standard 2001 helmet. So that's the argument. I think I'd take my chances. I don't know quite what the legislation is if you go to Europe, that's the only problem, but as far as Britain goes, I think you've got a good case to get away with wearing a helmet that's reasonably expected to provide at least the protection of the British Standard. That's my take. Cheers guys, catch you later.